What is going on, people of the internet? Hyper Chaotic here with a K, double R, and welcome back, or welcome, if this is your first time visiting my channel. And lately, I'm pretty sure we all know by now, for those who've been on the internet long enough, or at the very least, it's just a CoD fan, knows that Call of Duty has not been doing too well for the last 4 or 5 years at least. I mean, what can I say? Advanced Warfare's multiplayer didn't do too well. Infinity Warfare's multiplayer didn't do too well. World War II was good for some people and could have been better, which they did eventually make it better, but way later, until after another CoD came out, which I think was what? Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare 2019. Even though Zombies was alright at the very least, but multiplayer is typically what keeps people around, right? Modern Warfare 2019, people were very fucking pissed with how the multiplayer turned out for that one. A lot of people were pissed, but for the most part, it was kind of mixed with the reactions to the multiplayer in that game. People were definitely fed up with the doors. And if my memory's correct, it was either Modern Warfare and or Cold War that was causing some PCs and consoles to straight up crash trying to run the game. Like on day fucking one, which is just not good. That's the last thing you need, is a brand new game you just bought to break your shit. And although the campaign at least was alright, Spec Ops was just as broken, if not maybe in ways a little bit more than multiplayer. And as far as my understanding goes, they still haven't really fixed most of the issues. Or maybe I'm wrong. I really haven't seen any recent news on Modern Warfare 2019, let alone on specifically Spec Ops. But as far as my understanding goes, for all the updates that damn game had, to the point of just corroding people's hard drive with nothing but Modern Warfare updates, they never really bothered to fix too much of the issues between the issues in Spec Ops, the issues in multiplayer, and the cheaters, which apparently most of them really came from PC more than anything. Never mind the fact that the most they can do is ban an account and people could just remake one and hop right back in. You know, Warzone and whatnot. A lot of cheaters. Let me see. What was in between that? Cold War. Like, okay, now on to Cold War. I don't know, how did people, again, I think with Cold War multiplayer, it was a bit more mixed. Zombies, alright for the most part. Then came Vanguard, and it just flopped. And even between the time of Vanguard and people waiting for the next Modern Warfare, we still had a lot of issues between all three of those games. There was even at one point in time an update that fucked up all three games at once, even though it was only supposed to be for one of them. I think supposedly it was only supposed to be a Cold War or Vanguard update specifically. I don't remember which one. Maybe like there was a bit of an update that extended to the 3 because of Warzone. But for the most part, it was supposed to be an update for just one CoD game. And I believe it was supposed to be either Cold War or Vanguard. And it fucked up at least 3 games. Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, and Vanguard. It even fucked up the titles. How? And now that Modern Warfare 2 is going to be coming out soon, people really are not hyped. They're not excited. In fact, they're expecting more so of the same thing like before. Even I wouldn't be surprised if the only thing good that comes out of this game is the campaign, and that's it. I mean, hell, the epidemic pretty much affected the development of this game, and even though it was held back for a little bit longer, that way you could finish cooking in the oven, I guarantee you it's still going to be a buggy mess, or God forbid it does start crashing consoles and PCs again. Or at the very least, if we're really, really, really lucky, it does work on day one, but it just won't have too much content. At least in the sense of Spec Ops and multiplayer, just like with Modern Warfare 2019. Which, another thing I forgot to mention, with Spec Ops on day one, there was literally only like 1, 2 things to do, or at the very least you have to unlock the rest. But for the most part, it's just like, what the fuck is this? That's it for Spec Ops? Come on, we got a little bit more in Spec Ops in the original Modern Warfare trilogy, and this is all we get. I mean, a lot of you people can say what you want, but Spec Ops was always a fun side bonus for the original Modern Warfare trilogy. They didn't really have too much. Well, they still had Spec Ops and Modern Warfare 3, if my memory is correct. They also added Chaos Mode, which I never really tried because I didn't have internet at the time, and Survival Mode, which, from what I've heard, was copied from Halo's Survival Mode. Never tried it, but regardless, I personally thought it was fun. I thought it was a nice addition to Modern Warfare. And they did try to do it again in Ghost and Advanced Warfare. In Ghost, it was pretty good, but if they kept it the way it was in Modern Warfare, I thought it would have been much better. Except for the fact that you could get drops as far as score streaks to help you, which I thought was cool. But also didn't help that the maps just weren't very fucking good at all, really, in Ghost. I mean, I actually kind of liked Ghost for what it was, but let's be honest, the maps and, for a lot of people, the score streaks was a big chunk of what killed this game, and just didn't sit too well with a lot of people. And then they try to bring it back in Advanced Warfare and just completely butchered it. I would love to break down Call of Duty Survival Mode one day between Modern Warfare 3, Ghost, and Advanced Warfare, because I honestly think they completely butchered it. But that's a topic I may have to save for another time. In fact, that might be a full-blown video essay, so I may have to take my time with that, take some notes and shit. I already got a few other stuff I need to work on first. But man, it's just, people are not really hopeful for this next Call of Duty. I mean, hell, we already know as far as multiplayer goes that the gameplay is probably going to play exactly the same like Modern Warfare and or Cold War to a degree. Well, actually, Cold War and Modern Warfare are pretty much exactly the same as far as multiplayer for the most part. The only difference was the aesthetic and guns. But for the most part, they're going to be the same game. Same multiplayer. And it's not even going to have original maps. It's going to have a lot of rehashed maps, because I'm assuming they didn't have the time, resource, and or were too lazy to actually make any fresh maps. And didn't feel like dealing with the hassle of people complaining about the maps, so they said, fuck it, just rehash some of the original ones from before, and we'll figure it out later. Maybe they'll make some more original maps later on down the road as DLC. Or maybe they decided to put in the original maps instead and took whatever maps they did have for multiplayer out, so people can be happy with that. Plus, there's still a good amount of maps, but they're all just reused maps from the previous Modern Warfares. And later on, they'll release the maps they actually had as far as original maps for this game as DLC. Which would just be, again, them removing content to release as DLC. But they're like, okay, you know what, let's give them these maps they do like, so they're not complaining. And then when we drop these maps, we'll see how they feel about it. I don't know. But people really aren't too excited about this next Call of Duty. And all we know for the most part is that the gameplay is going to be the same. And the gameplay is going to be the same. It's just going to be the same. And it's going to have rehashed maps. Also, we're finally bringing back Ghost, the character. Other than that, people are not really too excited. I won't be surprised if some people play for the campaign, then immediately get their refund. Or just go to a friend to play it. I mean, personally, that's what I've been doing. For the past 3-4 Call of Duties, I did not buy them at all. I did try them. I did play through their campaigns, try their other modes, the multiplayers, but I did not fucking buy them. I just went to a friend or a cousin's house and I tried them. Because I'm done giving them my money. If it's going to turn out, I'm not going to want to stick around for its multiplayer and its third mode being a Spec Ops or Survival or Zombies or whatever the fuck, then I'm just not going to buy it. Unlike the rest of the community, I learned my lesson. However, some recent news that did come up about Modern Warfare 2, what is it? It's going to come out this year or next year? For the time being, I'm just gonna, for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna call it MW2 22 for 2022. So MW2 22, doesn't that roll right off the tongue? Will apparently have a map editor, which I'm not gonna lie, I was intrigued when I heard this news, and I got a little bit excited because I can only imagine what the CoD community would be able to do with a map editor. And I have no doubt, given the fact that they don't have any original maps and they're reusing old maps, that the reason they added this in is just so people can be happy making whatever the fuck they want and don't have to cling to Treyarch, because most of the maps will be made by the community anyways. It also it also saves time and money on their parts, which they have all the money in the world to make what the fuck they want. They just want to keep it for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th solid gold fucking yachts. Because God forbid these motherfuckers sell off one of their yachts just to let the fucking, product be good and their workers have a good pay and not be crunched to death. But they're going to be adding a map editor. And I, for one, think this would be a fine addition to Call of Duty. It might even help Modern Warfare 2 well, at least for the short run. In the long run, we don't know, but in the short run, it definitely will help a little bit. I really do think that a map editor will be beneficial to Call of Duty, and hopefully they don't just do it in this one, but if it does pretty good, they do it in future Call of Duties as well, which we know they're not going to stop producing those for as long as idiots keep fucking paying for it and not learning their fucking lesson. So I guess it only makes sense to give these people a map editor and just say, you know what, make whatever the fuck you want, make the map you always dreamed of, and go ham. Now, hopefully this will be an actual map editor and not just some slightly more advanced custom game mode where you can't actually edit the map. You just turn off certain features. No, like allowing you to actually edit the map to change up current maps in the game or completely make your own original map. I think a lot of people would probably love this in the COD community, little do they know. Plus, a lot of Call of Duty players out there may play other games too, such as Halo or Far Cry that comes to mind, which, from my understanding, not the current Halo, but previous Halos, from my understanding, have their own map editors. In Halo, it's called Forge. In Far Cry, it's literally just a Far Cry map editor. And they even have a special menu mode where you can try other people's made maps. Now, as far as my understanding goes, there was a multiplayer in Far Cry, but it wasn't really much to it. Whatever they did as far as a multiplayer happened in Far Cry 3, and they pretty much kind of abandoned it. There was sort of a multiplayer mode in Far Cry 5, which I think maybe moved on with New Dawn and 6, but it was mainly just whatever little bit of the community cared about the multiplayer mode, making their own mode with their own classes. But I wasn't really into the multiplayer mode. But they did make a lot of creative maps, which were just fun run-throughs. You really couldn't do too much with the maps versus what you probably could have done in stuff like Forge, maybe. I don't know too much about Forge. But for the most part, people will make some pretty interesting stuff, one-off stuff. I had like 2 or 3 favorite ones that I would play quite a few times. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more I could say on Far Cry 5's map editor. But there's a lot you could do with it once you figure it out. And then Forge, well, again, I don't know too much about Forge. But the fact that it's not in Halo Infinite and the Halo community was pissed goes to show how much they truly loved this mode and probably used to do a whole lot with it, to the point where people are constantly talking about, oh, all the memories I made in the custom maps made in Forge. So clearly, if it gave them a lot of fun, it gave the Far Cry community a lot of fun for what they were able to create out of that map editor. I don't see why not. I don't see how Call of Duty wouldn't be at least a little bit better, at least given its current state, with a map editor. And besides, the Call of Duty community already currently makes stuff for COD as far as custom maps and modes. You just typically find it in the zombies community. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm referring to custom zombies. I mean, kind of think about it. In the case of custom, obviously, if you're on console, you never got a chance to experience too much of custom zombies. Uh, but with custom zombies, that's basically what people are doing. They're making their own little maps, their own little Easter eggs, stories, and whatnot. So imagine, and this is something, believe it or not, I've always wanted in previous Call of Duties, Treyarch Call of Duties at least, because I can never have access to the custom zombies myself. So this will be close enough as far as council players getting their hands on custom zombies. I've always wanted a map editor for custom zombies. It would have been so cool. It would have brought custom zombies to console. But obviously we're not getting it for a Treyarch game. We're getting it for an Infinity Ward COD, and for multiplayer nonetheless. But if it does do well, and Treyarch themselves does continue to produce zombie maps, I really do hope that they bring back this map editor for zombies. But for the meantime, I guess we're just going to have to see what it does for Modern Warfare 2 2022. Hopefully it's good, hopefully the community enjoys it, and hopefully they make a lot of cool creative shit. Also, I'm also hoping that not only does it work for multiplayer, but Spec Ops as well. Now, hear me out. Tell me, would it be interesting if we gave the community the opportunity to make their own Spec Ops missions? I mean, zombies already do it. The zombies community already does, okay? They're going to allow the multiplayer community to do it. Why not extend it a little bit into Spec Ops as well? Maybe we might not get that on day one. That may be an update they would have to do. But I don't know. If anybody out there watching this is a bit of a Spec Ops fan, tell me what you think. Do you think it would be cool if the COD community was given the opportunity to make their own Spec Ops missions and map editors? And what do you think people would create? How creative would they get? Plus, again, that's just more content for the COD community that they get for free. For free. No money out of pocket. For free. So even if you're not happy with whatever Activision is giving you, whatever the community produces might just keep you entertained until the next Call of Duty or the next game. And again, if it does well, it might just be brought into a future Call of Duty with Treyarch and Treyarch zombies. Now, given that zombies should have ended a long time ago, I cannot imagine what they would even. I don't even know what they would possibly make unless they just make some survival maps with no ongoing story whatsoever. They would still leave some Easter eggs here and there, but probably something more along the lines of Nuketown that doesn't necessarily connect to the story too much. It kind of does, as far as I know, but not too much to the point where it's like important or anything. For the most part, it's still just a one-off survival map. So let's say if Treyarch was to make another Call of Duty, maybe they'll just do some of that, and the rest would be just from the custom zombies community making shit in the map editor. I, for one, would love that. Again, when we're talking about console, I would love that. A lot of people would love that. Obviously, if you're on PC, you basically already got that. But I, for one, personally would love that. Plus, maybe it'll be a little bit easier on the custom zombies people who want to make their own stuff and don't happen to open up, who don't have to open up a whole video game source engine, or you know what I mean, a whole engine to make a map. Granted, they would only be able to use the assets that are built into the map editor, but it doesn't mean they can't get very creative with what's there. And I do understand that, thanks to the beauty of mods, there's a lot of stuff you can do in custom zombies on PC you wouldn't be able to in a map editor on console. But even then, being able to bring custom zombies to console at all would be awesome. And if it has to start with a map editors and custom made content made by the multiplayer community and even the Spec Ops community, then I'm all down. I'm all fucking down. And I, for one, might even get the game again if a lot of people are able to make content not just for multiplayer but Spec Ops as well. If people are allowed to make their own Spec Ops mission and their Spec Ops missions actually work, then I'm down. I don't see the multiplayer keeping me going for a while unless what the people are creating is really fun. But, you know, I could have fun with the campaign. Spec Ops, I can keep that going, and whatever's made in the map editor and the map editor itself, I can have fun with that at least. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, even when it drops, I would still wait anywhere from a month to 3 months to see how the game goes before I even drop any money on it whatsoever. But I do think this would be a great addition to Call of Duty, and would be a beneficial one at that, especially given the current state of Call of Duty. And I really do hope that if it does good for multiplayer, then it will also be brought to Trader COD for zombies as well. Custom zombies on fucking console, hell yeah, give it to me. Let me give you my money. And again, if it can also work for Spec Ops, if we can allow people to make their own Spec Ops missions too, that'll be awesome. And that'll just be more content for the community. And another reason why people might want to buy Modern Warfare, which just means more money for Activision. I still think there's no excuse for them cheaping out on the fucking content. Let's not defend them here. They're a bunch of cheap bastards and don't treat their fucking employees well. But given the current state of Call of Duty and Activision, I think it will be a fine addition, and it will be even better if they allow it not only for multiplayer but Spec Ops as well. More Spec Ops missions, more multiplayer maps and modes that people create. That's just more content for the Call of Duty community. There's only good that could come out of this rather than bad. Again, assuming it isn't just like an advanced version of a custom game mode and you don't really get a chance to do too much, or it can't really be too creative. I don't know. I hope they don't suppress the community's creativity and just let them go ham with the map editor. But it really depends, and it also depends on how much assets people have access to. I mean, it's mostly going to be Modern Warfare stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if they add some stuff from, like, you know, Cold War and Vanguard, or at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not supposed to originally be there, but it ends up in there anyways, and they're just like, you know what, they're having fun, they're playing our game, whatever, just fucking leave them alone and let them have at it. I mean, I can't guarantee that'll happen. Maybe they do a 180 and take it away from us, even though we're enjoying it. Honestly, they probably would do some shit like that. But regardless, a map editor would only mean more content for the community. Especially since I know a lot of you are not going to learn your fucking lesson and buy the game anyways. So they might as well. But again, personally for me, I'm going to wait 3 months, maybe even 4, see how the game goes. And if the map editor is great, if the community's making a lot of cool shit, Spec Ops works, the campaign, the base game itself just works, and the map editor also works for Spec Ops missions, then I might just drop my own money. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below, and this is where I'm going to end the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If not, leave a dislike and a comment telling me why. Any and all interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm. And I, for one, am not excited for Call of Duty at all anymore. I would be excited for this map editor if it was in a better state, but for the most part, I only have a little bit of hope of what it could bring to Call of Duty, what benefit it could bring to the Call of Duty community if all in all fails. But that's only at the very least if it doesn't, you know, suppress people's creativity, and the base game works on day fucking 1. That's the most important part. The base game has to work, including the map editor. Assuming it's actually part of the base game, it better fucking work. And if it doesn't work for Spec Ops, you know what? I shouldn't have that as an expectation. That's more so of a finger cross hoping so. But if it doesn't, then oh well. But I really am hoping that if they do bring a map editor for multiplayer, it works for Spec Ops as well. Again, there are people out there who do enjoy Spec Ops missions, and that's just more content for the community. That's it, I'm done. Chaotic out. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Even if you didn't enjoy it, I really do appreciate your time. Have a good one.